All right, guys, happy new week. It is officially Monday, as again, end of market open, pretty much end of the markets. I took no trades today. I'm going to go into why, but pretty much to really just sum it up, we had some of the most lowest probability conditions we've had in such a long time. And I mean, if you want to have a look, this is what it was. So 9:30 open was right on my line right here. So going into the day, it was obviously crystal fucking clear that we weren't going to get any trades today for many reasons. Number one, you can see that price ended up tapping into a massive 4-hour gap. So you would think, okay, we got a strong 4-hour gap tap and a great reaction out. After this candle, we should have either started pumping or how we started absolutely doing nothing. There's no delivery out of the 4-hour gap. So, I mean, to summarize a little better, we got a strong flip. We got a 220 point flip out of a 4-hour gap. So you can see volume higher. Obviously, we want higher volume, but we got nothing after this flip. This next candle should have immediately delivered higher, but it didn't. So after that, it's pretty clear that we don't want to move. Like, we shouldn't be moving any more lower after this candle. It should be literally just flip straight higher. And that didn't happen. So then again, scaling down to the 5-minute, you see how disgusting it is. So the 4-hour gap tap was probably going to happen sooner or later, but it was from war news. There were some war news that somebody was sending missiles at somebody else. I don't remember, but that obviously dumped the market. So look, we get a 250 point dump and then we buy back up overnight again. So in the span of almost 4 hours, we bought up again, but that buyback was so slow after this move right here. So this was obviously 5 minutes, super strong volume. We got an instant flip higher, but the next, I guess, 2.5 hours were extremely slow. So looking at this right here is just disgusting. It's straight barcode action. Scale even lower. Like, look, this looks terrible. Like, what are you trading here? There's no targets, no volume. So simply going into the day, I already knew I'm not going to trade, and it was obviously the right move. So this is 10 a.m. So you can see at 9, where was 9:30? 9:30, we open up lower. We always start delivering higher again. We get a decent flip once again. So we got one good flip, second good flip. We should continue running higher, but that never happened. So around 10 a.m., I'm like, I don't even know why I'm watching price. No news Monday, no volume, massive move already. We already moved 400 points pre-market. I really doubt we're going to move any more. If we were going to move, we would have already done it. And of course, that was the right decision because you see that markets do nothing. We did nothing up until around 11 a.m. when we started dumping, and it makes sense because we did leave a bunch of low resistance liquidity right here to be taken out. So this does make sense, but I'm not going to sit on the charts on the lowest probability day on a day that's so fucking ass up until 11:30 just to get a trade. I'm not going to waste my time doing that. I just got off, went to the gym a little earlier. I don't know if you can see, I did end up tanning for a bit too. So really simple day. On these sorts of days, you need to really just, if this wants to focus, on these types of days, you really need to tell yourself that this is a terrible day. I'm not even going to bother risking when we have such bad conditions. So close the charts, move on. And that's exactly what I did. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow. All right, guys. So it is Tuesday. Can I flip this? Tuesday market close. We ended up taking no trades today. Today was a really interesting day, so to say, if you want to call it. We had a really strong, just straight pump today with no real entries, and I guess we can get right into it now. This is pretty much all of market, what I traded up until right around the 11 a.m. mark. So this was 10:50. Sorry if you guys hear any noise, my window's open. So market open was right at this massive down candle, and you can see that we literally pumped, how many points was this? 170 points throughout the whole session, and there really weren't any entries. Like, this is on the 1 minute. This, I wouldn't take any, like, so you can, I like to trade continuation. So I trade trending price action, retrace, take displacement. Same thing when I'm going down is trending price action, bearish, retrace, enter down. So that's all I like to trade. But you might ask, you can see on the chart here, Nqmax, we have one retrace, second retrace, third retrace right here. All of these entries over here honestly do not make any sense at all. This one first retrace, second retrace, third, because these are all extremely shallow. So you can see that these pullbacks are a few points. They're like 20 point pullbacks. This one's even less, probably like 10 points. All of these retraces, so you want to call, are extremely shallow, and there is honestly, you can take them if you want, but it's not worth it, because one of the main reasons a lot of people do lose trading continuations, and this is where your discretion ends up coming into play, is a lot of people end up losing continuation trades because their retrace is way too shallow. A retrace happens on every single time frame, no matter what you think it is. Even on like a 1 minute candle, you see a 1 minute candle printing. Go on a low enough time frame, you will see some sort of retrace. So continuation trading it's interesting in that way that there's so many of these continuation setups that appear like a retrace. You know what a retrace is a pullback happens every single time in the market. There's probably like hundreds of retraces you could catch in the span of like, let's say 9:30 till 4 p.m. There's that New York session. You can probably catch so many retraces, but what you need to learn as a continuation trader is that discretion, is to know when does that retrace, when is that a higher win rate retrace? And all of those retraces are not high win rate retraces. You get a little pullback with some displacement. Let's say you entered on any of those retraces, sorry. Sure, they played out, but what is going to happen when they don't? Think to yourself that if you reward yourself with taking such shit setups, such low probability retraces, that's going to bite you in the ass sooner or later. And I had to learn this the hard way. I used to have, you've seen trades I've taken. I think it was 2 videos ago when I was on evals. I remember there was a trade that I entered way too shallow of a retrace, played my stop way too small, got stopped out. We got a bit of a deeper retrace and it played out. And so many people ended up getting smoked today on that same reasoning. So as I just told you, that like you can enter on these short retraces, but play it until it fucks you over. That's kind of like the whole motion, right? You can see over here. So you had your 1, 2, 3 retrace. You think, okay, maybe we get a 4th one. So you like take your entry right here. You know what? Let's wait for a second flip. I saw so many people end up losing here. So let's say you're targeting around 1.5 R. You have your stop bottom of the wick, something like this. Look what happens. This is what's going to happen when you take such shallow retraces. You're like, oh wow, this is a really good displacing candle. We have clear break-even point. We have a clear all-time high break-even point. But what happens? We edge your break-even point by a few points. You get ran through your stop, but that's when the second retrace happens, where you could have entered maybe over here or entry over here. So that's why I don't take shallow retraces, because I know that the day I get stopped out, I'm going to be so frustrated with myself to see my trade edge, take my stop loss, retrace a tiny bit lower, and then play out. That's the worst feeling ever. But anyways, I'll show you what I wanted to take. So pretty much, as I said, this is the whole market. So you can see we were pretty much ripping all of the session. And what I saw for myself, if this wants to load, is we had this massive 15-minute gap open up while we were pumping. So what I wanted to see, what my condition was, I want to see us retrace into this 15-minute gap with decent displacement out. And we did get that. So we got our first retrace into the 15-minute right over here with this candle here. I saw a lot of people did end up taking a loss on this trade. I did not like this trade because this candle was not displacing enough for me. Because honestly, I don't trade IFEGs, but I do like to watch reaction out of gaps. And you can see, look how weak the reaction out of, if this wants to focus, look how weak the reaction out of that gap is. We literally closed. I'll just try zooming in. We closed. Like, look at that. Literally by a tick. So we closed out of the gap by genuinely a fucking tick. So that's what told me to stay out, wait for a better entry. I'll just wait for a smaller pullback. In that case, a small pullback makes sense when we have good displacement out, but I didn't take that. Second entry I saw that might be viable was this candle closed over here. So people got stopped out on this trade. You could have re-entered right over here. I saw this candle, but it was also way too big of a stop. It was almost a 60-point stop you'd rock. So ideally you want like 1.5 R. You're targeting way too high. So what I did, I wanted to get a little bit more risk reward out of this trade. So I want you guys to really watch this. This is some value. But so what I did was I was going to limit order this 1 minute gap that we created. I thought the price would at least have some sort of small pullback before we keep going. And look at the R you get from just waiting for a pullback. You get 1.3 R here, and then maybe you can target a full 2 R. Would have been so clean. But life is not all sunshines and rainbows. My limit order got edged by 1.25 points. So I was going to limit this top of the gap right over here. And we got edged. Oh, we got edged so hard. But yeah, it is what it is. That's what I sort of get for trying to squeeze a bit more R. And I did look back on the trade again. If you guys follow me on TikTok or Instagram, I made a post about it already. But I already told myself that I probably should have just entered over here regardless. After I saw that I got edge, I could have still entered a market order because really, what is 1.25 points more to my stop? That's $10 more to my stop loss, right? It was honestly kind of stupid of me not just to, well, I really need to think about this more. I'll update you guys more on this thought tomorrow because yeah, I could have entered again. I could have entered the trade, but it is also starting to kind of chase. It's also, if you think about it, it's me chasing into price if I was to market order, like market entry the order when my limit got edged. So I don't know. I'm going to think about it more because I don't chase price at all. I hate chasing price. If I ever feel like I'm chasing price, I'm going to lock out. So yeah, we'll think about that more, but that's really all there is to this to today. I really hope you guys did at least get something out of this little rant because I did go over at least what I think was some pretty valuable information explaining pretty much don't enter on shallow retraces, wait for an actual deep retrace, like a higher time frame retrace. You can only wait for smaller retraces when we're running with clean volume, which we did not have today. It was really low volume. It was weird how we just sort of delivered like that higher. But yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday, pretty much halfway through the week. And yeah, we'll just catch you guys tomorrow. All right, chat. Happy Wednesday. We have officially finished the trading session. Well, sorry, I mean the trading session finished a while ago. It is almost 3:30 now, right over here. And sorry if you guys see me wearing the douchebag fit. I was just recording an Instagram reel. And one of the most important things is engagement. You know, so I'm just wearing the most douchebag fix just to get clicks, but I'm really sorry about that, guys. I don't generally, just dress like some sort of fucking dick all the time, but really simple trading day for me today. We ended up the day around $1,000 quick. Well, 300 on one account and then like 250 whatever ish across every other account. Today was a really interesting trading day as price did make a lot of sense. Like I think it was pretty clear where price wanted to run. But the only thing was that the delivery was honestly atrocious. We had terrible delivery today. So that meant that I had to, manage price a little better, not take such loose entries, be really careful with where I'm entering and making sure that price does make sense. But let's go over pretty much what I saw going into New York AM. So this is what New York AM looked like. Now, I want to begin the video by explaining that, first of all, I did not realize how much we ripped since Asia opened. So we opened last night, 6 p.m. We end up running almost 400 points. We pumped 400 points overnight and also sold off about 250 points, 260 points overnight. So I did not take this into consideration, but if I was to realize that we had this much of a move overnight, I probably would have been a little more careful with how I traded today. But honestly, this has been such a regular thing for price to just run like this. Like, look, we've been constantly just pumping overnight. This has been such a normal thing that I woke up today, I'm like, I saw these candles, but I did not realize how much of a move it was. Like, okay, whatever. Just another day, just another trading day. But again, as I said, it was extremely simple what price obviously wanted to do, at least what I saw. Number one is we are extremely bullish. You can see that we have been literally just running higher. So I don't think that we're going to get shorts. We had a really nice draw right here. We had a new day opening gap, that gap when Asia opened at 6 p.m. This was a decent draw, but you can see we edged the draw. So I was like, whatever. Either way, I don't think shorts make sense because we were so close to all-time highs. We had this hourly gap, which we tapped into. We were holding this hourly gap, all-time highs above. The only thing that I saw that could stop price from running was this 30-minute gap right over here. And we had another 30-minute on the top. So two sort of bearish gaps, which could have stopped price from running, and it did end up happening. So pretty much going into the day today, if this wants to load, this was 925. We were already in the hourly gap. We end up displacing a bit lower, or sorry. Okay, so 930 opens higher, but I think we do end up delivering back down. Okay, no, we didn't. Maybe I'm tweaking. Hold on. No, okay, sorry. So this was the lowest delivery point. So 9:30 delivered into the hourly gap. We got our strong inverse out. I'm completely lost. But I ended up taking my first trade. It was a simple 1 minute continuation off this candle right over here. Stop was at that wick and I was targeting, I believe it was that 30-minute, this high right over here. So I was going for almost a 1.1R trade. Original trade was this right over here. Simple, my idea being super simple that, look, price ended up tapping into the hourly gap, held it, had a strong rejection out. This rejection was like almost 100 points. We had, yeah, so 140, 150 point rejection out of the hourly gap. Great displacement out. I was like, okay, I don't want to enter too early here. I don't want to enter here. This was honestly, the next candle was way too high up for my the risk to reward. It wouldn't have made sense, sorry. So I waited for some sort of tiny retrace. Decent pullback out. Stop was at that wick. My idea being that we honestly should not tap back into the hourly gap. We just displaced 150 points. There's literally no reason for us to go back into this gap. Break even was the 30-minute gap. I thought, again, as I explained, the only thing that could stop price from running higher was this 30-minute gap for the moment. So pretty much went break even right at this area over here. And yeah, we ended up getting break even. Now that was the right idea to go break even because I'll scale in the 5-minute. Look how bad price starts delivering. What is this? So we start chopping around for the whole session. I got off. What I did not realize was ES at this point was already running to all-time highs. We pretty much took all-time highs by the time I realized that, you know, NQ was not the move. Now, the reason that I decided to trade NQ over ES is number one, NQ is a more expensive contract. I only have one mini I can risk max on my account, so I'm going to trade the more expensive pair because it makes more sense. I think with ES1 contract, I'm risking like $300 max. So I was looking at NQ to trade at the time. And at the same time, when I was taking my original trade, NQ and ES were literally at the exact same spot. So it didn't really make sense to trade the cheaper pair if I can have a better opportunity on NQ. But simply, as I mentioned, ES was already running. Like, look, let's take when ES takes all-time highs on this candle, the 1040 candle, NQ was nowhere close to being higher. We were still stuck in a range on NQ over here. So I got off around over here. I set an alert for about a higher point because like, okay, maybe we might get some sort of move. I did get break even. So I was like, I'm still open to taking another trade today. So let's see how we end up going. But pretty much price does finally start to deliver sort of on NQ. We opened up this 5-minute gap over here and I was trying to see how we react off this 5-minute gap. This 5-minute gap was my last condition. I was like, either this gap holds and we deliver higher or I'm just fucking done for the day because it was almost 11:30. I was just checking on my phone, checking the charts every once in a while. But as you can see, price does end up holding it. The reaction out of this gap wasn't the greatest. You see, we got two massive wick candles, but this next 5-minute candle over here did signify to me that, okay, most likely we are going to continue running. So I enter right over here, 1 minute. I had my break even right above this candle right here. It was over here. I entered stop loss at that wick, pretty much going for about a 1-to-1 trade. And, or sorry, no, it was the next candle. Yes, okay, next candle right over here where I entered. Sorry, guys. I've recorded almost like 4 videos in the span of an hour now, so I'm a bit sloppy. But sorry, this was the candle that entered for me. I saw that, okay, if we printed this down candle, so I was like, okay, most likely we're not going to get any decent trade. But once I saw this 5-minute print higher, I'm okay, we got one candle higher, second candle higher. We didn't validate any move lower. We left a massive wick. This massive rejection wick did also make sense to me that most likely we will deliver higher. So I entered right here, literally stop at the wick of that candle. I was targeting about 20 something points. I think it was like 23-ish points because I ended up getting break even for, actually, let me show you guys. When I got break even, my trade copier once again did bug out. This is what I got break even for. I got an $80 loss across 3 of my accounts, and one account, of course, the leader never has anything wrong with it. But so I was just pretty much going for what was a winning day on this trade. And as you see, it literally plays out in almost 1-ish candle, sorry, 2 candles. Right over here, simple, boom. Quick and easy trade, $1,000 on the day. I am so happy with the outcome of this because the conditions trading was so weird today, was so fried. I saw so many people took losses, but I just decided to
stay super patient. Understand that if we're not moving, if we're not running on the pair I want, if my conditions personally aren't met, I'm not going to keep forcing trades. I saw so many people got break even earlier today after that 1 hour gap tab displacement because it did make sense for us to run higher, and then they end up forcing trades. So yeah, moral of the day today is literally the story of today. The lesson is stay patient, wait for price to have clear displacement. That's when you can catch an entry. And that's what I love about continuation is that I'm not predicting any of my trades. I'm waiting for some sort of direction displacement out. Either we pump higher, pump lower, and that's when I'm catching my little pullback to my draw. But yeah, really simple day overall. Happy with how I executed, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to keep taking heavy risk trades. I might honestly just go for winning days because there's not really much of a point. My accounts are at almost 1.5 across each account. Maybe we'll take another account trade, but really how I have been trying to trade is take every trade and just trail to a winning day. But yeah, I'm not going to think about it too much because every single time I start thinking about how I'm going to trade my winning days, the dollar amount honestly starts messing with my head. But yeah, nothing much else to say. I know this was a really long recording, but it was a really interesting session, a lot of learning opportunities, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.
All right, so what is up, guys? It is Thursday, 4:30 p.m. We are done with the trading day. Really super unfortunate day. Genuinely got humbled so hard in the markets, and yeah. So I'll just show you guys the execution pretty much today. So going into market open, it was 9:30 right over here. So we obviously had all-time highs as the draw, that black line right by my sell button. It was pretty clear that obviously we were at all-time highs, so the only thing that does make sense is obviously price go higher. Now, really weird thing is that NQ and ES were extremely uncorrelated today. ES was trying to move lower while NQ was doing the complete opposite. So yeah, so NQ at the time was ripping higher, ES was running lower. Now ES did end up catching up, but again, as I said, it was just really weird how the markets were today. But anyways, after we got some pretty good displacement on NQ higher, obviously I was looking for entries. I wasn't too sure about entering right around this area because again, I just told you ES was literally doing this while NQ was ripping higher. So I was like, okay, this is really weird today. I don't know what is going to happen. So I was waiting till we got pretty close to all-time highs, and as you can see, we do get close to all-time highs. Now, this does look like a winning trade, and it could have been a winning trade, but look at that. Can I zoom in? Wow. Wow, guys. We got stopped out by literally what looks like a tick. So we got wicked out of a trade by a tick, and it ran straight to my take profit. You can see wicked out, next candle plays out. So that is what I got for trying to be more predictive in the markets today rather than reactive. Well, it was honestly a case of both things where obviously we created this 1 minute gap. So I thought that we would instantly tap this 1 minute gap and flip higher. That was my reasoning. Stop loss was right below the 1 minute gap. So yeah, my whole idea was that I'm going to limit order this gap. I think we're honestly going to tap here, maybe go to the midpoint and start running higher. But unfortunately, we did wick out that 1 minute gap. We did end up obviously holding it, but my entry was too early. If I could have just waited for that 1 minute close, probably could have played something like this right here. This right here would have been awesome, like right here, 1.7R. But so it would have been pretty much the exact same risk reward. And at this point, it is what it is. It was honestly a little frustrating seeing this literally play in front of my eyes after I got stopped out. But yeah, it is what it is. I was a little, pressed about it for maybe 5 minutes. After that, I realized, again, what the fuck am I going to do? The trade's already taken, the trade's already done. I already hit a lockout on my accounts. It was a really fat loss. I was risking heavy on this trade. I was so confident that we were going to go higher. And obviously I had the right case. Just unfortunately, my price ended up wicking me out. So of course I could have played a bigger stop. Probably would have been a better idea. But either way, my idea was that we hold the gap and flip out. Obviously my idea was wrong in some sense. But yeah, it is what it is. So pretty much now we have to build balances back up. It is okay now because obviously I was trying to see if I could request really quick with these accounts, but Obviously, that's not going to be the case. And it is what it is. The accounts are obviously still positive, around 500-ish profit, I think. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, it is what it is. I'm not too mad about it because, again, what the fuck am I going to do now? But we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, the last trading day of the week. But yeah, catch you guys tomorrow. Chat. Last time I picked up the camera was 4 hours ago. It is now 8:19 p.m. Can we zoom in? So sorry, 8:20 p.m. I lied to you guys. Funny enough, I was just recording a video for one of my one-on-ones. Pretty much just I was recording a video, a little breakdown education video, and I ended up getting, obviously I was on the charts recording, but what I saw during, so sorry guys, I am so like rushing everything. We ended up taking a trade around $600 across every account. That is around 2.4K across every account. P&L card right here. I did just record a long form video breaking this entire trade down, but bang, we got a quick 46 points during Asia session. This trade made so much sense to me. It made me feel fucking stupid if I didn't take this trade, just because, let's say, oh, it was Asia session. Sorry, let me close that. Discard, whatever. Anyways, yeah, let's go into the trade breakdown here. So yes, this trade was executed in some devious chop. You can see bang, 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 rage and disgusting. But look what I saw too. Going on the daily time frame, we had a massive daily gap right over here. Now, my thought process was simply that we are what has been the trend this entire month. So look, ever since the end of March, what have we been doing? We were literally just running higher, 5,000 points in 1 month. So simply seeing that the daily gap is right below there, what have we been doing? We tap the gaps, go, go, go. Everything has been literally just about price ripping. And I mean, oh my God, even on the 4 hour, this looks so clean. That, like, if I can zoom in on the 4 hour, this looks like we are probably going to run to all-time high sooner or later. But anyways, after I saw that we had the daily gap there, I was simply looking for taking some sort of reaction out of the gap. And that's where I got my entry right here. So you can see Asia Open does end up tapping into this gap and breaking out. But I don't want to take that first initial flip off Asia Open, considering it was at 6 p.m. That first hour of Asia is extremely unpredictable. It's not like I've never seen price delivered cleanly off Asia Open unless we had some sort of war news like Trump saying that they have a ceasefire or some shit like that. We never delivered clean off Asia Open. So I was simply looking to take a second flip higher, and that's exactly what I did. Price got its first flip, retrace, second flip. And also what I always show you guys, I do trade continuations, but of course there is lots of discretion that does come into play with continuation trading. Now, mainly how a lot of continuations do trade is trade the trend. That's exactly what I was doing. But usually they'll wait for some sort of order block or fair value gap tap an order block, tap a fair value gap, take the displacement out. Guys, you do not need to have a fair value gap or order block every single time you trade. That's exactly what I did here. There was no, I mean, I don't know if you can call this a 15-minute gap because there is nothing holding that below. Usually, no, it's not even a gap. You need 3 candles. There's nothing there. So it's like, let's call it like a half fair value gap. But yeah, an extreme amount of rambling was just done for me during this video. But we did end up smacking this trade. Literally all you need to know is tap the daily gap, displacement out, first flip, second flip entry, bang. I closed for $600 because I have a consistency rule on these accounts. But now that I did some mathematics, it was $750, which was the consistency rule. But unfortunately, I did not know that in the moment, and I set my TP for sooner. But yeah, guys, this is going to be the end of the trading week. We're not trading tomorrow. It's Friday. I got my trade for the Friday done, out of the way. Super happy with the execution. I'll probably pick up the camera one more time just to have a look over New York AM because I do have people watching me that want to learn how to trade. So I'm still going to watch the session, give you guys my initial thoughts, breakdowns later on. But done for the week. Happy. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. All right, guys. So it is now the end of the week. 5 p.m. on a Friday. Pretty much just trying to close the video off here. So I honestly don't have much else to add to what I had to say yesterday night. But pretty happy with how my trading performance went this week. Yeah, it was unfortunate that we had that hole stopped out by a tick, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, that was just more of like a statistical loss. If anything, probably would have, I mean, yeah, it would have been better to have a bigger stop, but again, there's nothing I could have done in the moment. I had my conviction in the trade. Obviously, it still played out. Unfortunate stuff happens like that, but yeah, really happy with how my trading was. And obviously, I just want to give you guys a mention that in my Discord, I do post every single trade. Every single trade that has taken is mentioned in here. Anytime you have questions, you can also send questions to ask. I am always answering every single time. I am always active in the server. So if you guys have anything to ask, if you guys just want to join the server, link is in the bio. And by the way, guys, I've also partnered with a new firm. Well, not a new firm, just a new partnership for me is with Top One Futures. They are giving you guys 60% off instant funding accounts with your first purchase using my code Nqmax. If you guys don't want to trade evals and want to get just on a funded account right away, try them out. They're a pretty good firm. Honestly, simple rules, almost similar like Tradeify, Top Step, as Alpha Futures. Honestly, all like really similar firms. So yeah, give them guys a go. But I'll see you guys next week, and thank you for watching.